And also, I simply encourage you to run away from Islam. The Islam you brought from Afghanistan
is the way of dignity, of the way that a person can live under the Islam. Islam, what's Islam? Islam is from Salam. Salam means peace.
According to who? According to who Islam means peace?
The word itself, Islam came from Salam.
According to who? According to who?
According to everyone.
No, that's a lie. Islam means submission. Islam means submission. Bring your evidence. Bring your evidence that Islam means peace.
You have used such a word to Islam. I cannot tell you that you have used
Bring your evidence that Islam means peace.
That's one event in his life. You shouldn't generalize it, you know.
Sorry?
That's one event in his life of Abu Bakr. We are all humans. Something like this can happen. We have emotional situations in which we curse. No one is perfect, you know.
So,
he has said once maybe.
Sorry, I'm just trying to understand. This is the statement Abu Bakr did once in his lifetime.
Okay,
Therefore, we should just turn blind eye and ignore.
No,
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do if the followers of Islam is using this to justify?
Believe me, they don't do it because
They
the
do.
history of
They do.
Tabari,
They do.
you have to check out the
So
translation.
here's the huge article. There is a huge article. Where is it? This one, justifying people to be killed through jihad because simply it is acceptable in Islam if you are insulting someone. That's the example Abu Bakr sets it. Okay, that's a huge article
You
here.
should prioritize other sources first, you know.
So that was the first Tabari. This is the second one. This is the Muhammad, Messenger of Allah is talking. Okay, from Sunni sources. Can you read it to me? If you hear someone boasting in an arrogant manner of his tribal lineage, then tell him to bite.
Look, those you have to always be aware that in those sources you have to compare with other sources first before making a general statement. Muslims are very sensible with such sources, which was related by Al-Musnad, Ahmad.
So it is mentioned in Ahmad, classified as a Hasan, okay? And then Islam QA is justified using such actions, okay? So it is ugly action. It is ugly saying, if you are Muslim, you should be ashamed of it right now. Are you Muslim? Not laugh at it. You should, gülmemelisin. Gülmene hiçbir gerek yok.
Evet.
Çok çirkin bir şey.
Hani
English.
şöyle bir şey anlam. You have to understand that the general message we get to know from the first primary sources, not to curse in the first place, is not to, you know, you don't get this message anywhere in the Islamic sources. But these
Okay.
were collectors. Tabari was historical.
Okay, so let's hold the hands. Can you hold the page? Hold the page. Okay. 5 seconds silent for the funeral of Abu Bakr that you are burying him right now. You throw him under the bus. He's gone. Okay, now focus. Let's get rid of this. Tell me why you are Muslim. Tell me why you are Muslim. Why are you Muslim?
I'm not used to this kind of language. Let me think first. I need to give it a
Continue. Think. I'll give you time to think. How old are you, sir?
23.
23. Have you ever seen your father is beating your mother?
Never.
No. If you see this gentleman is beating his wife, what would you do?
I would maybe advise him.
Can you look at me when you speak to me? Because I can't hear well.
I would advise him to not to beat his wife.
So you would advise him to not beat his wife. What else you would do?
Maybe I would interfere.
You would step in.
Yeah.
Okay. If Allah is telling you that you have right to beat your wife, what would you do?
I would try to understand it in the context.
Okay, let's turn the context.
You know, there is a professor. I'm attending the Goethe University in Frankfurt am Main, in Germany. Okay, and I'm studying Islamic studies and also English studies. And
Sir,
there is
I want you to focus.
professor.
I want you to focus.
Angelika Neuwirth. Maybe you know her. Angelika Neuwirth. She's very famous in Germany.
I know
And
her.
she.
Let me focus. No.
Please.
I want you to.
After I finish, you can.
What is
you
your
can
name?
listen to it. My name is Michael.
Michael.
Yeah. After I finish, okay, just you can talk. So she said, looking at the context, looking at the societal structure, the first was like a relief for the women in such a time, in the time when she was treated as an object, okay? She was treated as, women were treated as an object, okay? And Islam gave many more rights to women. If you transfer it to today, that would mean that many things in Islam has to be, thought over again, and the principles behind it have to be understood. It's very common knowledge at university, we don't discuss things like this because there is this transfer from the history, from the context, from the social context to today.
Let me respond. I am sorry to. I heard what you said.
Did you understand me?
I heard what you said. I am very sorry to hear. At age 23, you are already trying to justify certain teachings. That is very much I am disturbed by. First of all, Islam doesn't give women any right which they didn't have before. Okay, that's a huge lie. And I am sorry, at university you've been like my brother. Police removed my brother. Just a moment.
Derek filmed everything. Okay, Derek, my camera. He's filmed it all. They put him in the van and took him away.
Who?
The older guy.
Oh, the other older guy,
They
yeah.
put him in the van and took him away, Derek said.
What?
To be Islamic teacher. Okay. Can you tell me about Khadija?
Yeah, I've told you that she was the first wife of the Prophet.
Okay. So she was the first wife of Muhammad. Can you compare Khadija's time versus the wives of Father Muhammad? Was Khadija covered up?
I'm not sure about that.
Answer is no.
Can you prove it?
Because covering entered the Islamic world after the death of Khadija.
Came up. You say it, so you're claiming that covering
Surah
came with Islam.
33 verse 59.
Before that there was no hijab, no covering.
Covering stepped in. You are going to be Islamic teacher. How come you don't know very basics? So Surah 33 verse 59. Covering comes so that you cover that you don't get abused.
Before that there was no covering?
No.
No at all. In the Arabic Peninsula.
The reason covering comes because Umar sees one of Muhammad's wives. She's large and big at night. She's like checking the woman. He's checking the woman's out. He goes to Muhammad and then says, "We need to cover the wives. Otherwise, I'm recognizing what your wife is doing." Suddenly, Allah steps in and then gives this verse of covering. So you cover that you don't get abused. Muslim woman needs to cover. Muslim men don't abuse them. Khadija did not cover. Her right of freedom to dress up what she wants to have is being taken away with the teachings of Muhammad. She was able to ask Muhammad to marry her. What happened? Islam stepped in and then take that right away from Muslims.
I would like to see the sources first.
You give me the sources since you are disagreeing with me.
I haven't graduated yet, and I'm focusing more on methodology and stuff.
Let me ask you a very basic question.
I'm interested in it.
Someone who wants to be who is training to be Islamic teacher, how are you handling the child wife?
The child what?
Child wife, child marriage.
Aisha. So there's.
Sorry, what is the name of the child wife?
Aisha.
Aisha. How old was Aisha when Muhammad had sex
She
with
was
her?
young. She was young. I know
How
the
old?
discussions.
How
There's
old?
always the same discussions.
How old was she?
I don't know. You have to look up the sources.
So you are gonna be, are you sure you are training to be
I'm not
teacher?
going to be a professor at university. I'm going to teach in school.
So you are gonna teach in school, you don't even know the basics of Islam.
Students who are Muslim. I know the basics.
So you are gonna, what are you gonna say to the Muslim man?
Yeah.
Imagine I am your student. Teacher, can my father have sex with your child?
I will say no.
You would say no. What is your justification for that?
It will be probably some 10 lessons or so, and we will take that, let me say, issue from many perspectives and come to a conclusion together with the class.
Okay.
And then I will let the students decide for what they are deciding for themselves. This is true.
Okay. So you will let students decide
I will
if
show
it
them
is
the
true or not.
perspectives, and they will-
Let's do very basics.
Okay.
Are you Prophet Muhammad?
I guess no.
You guess no. Okay. We can figure that out. Like it's not that difficult to figure that out.
Okay.
Are you Allah? No, you've got two shins. Are you Allah?
I guess not.
You are not Allah. While the word of Allah orders you to divorce the child who you had sex with, who do you think you are? Lying to the Muslim students and telling them, oh, we can make a decision which is acceptable. Who do you think you are overriding the word of Allah?
It's not about overriding the verse of Allah, it's just shedding new light on the verse of Allah, you know?
Okay? Share the light here. 65-4. So you are going to be Islamic teacher. You don't even know the basics about Islam, but you know how to lie and deceive Muslims.
I don't have to like.
And it's not funny. Gülünecek bir şey yok gerçekten.
Hiç bilmiyorum.
So, did your prophet made a mistake when he climbed the top of a child?
See those things like a frame, okay? There's like a framing in a society, in a context. You know, there's a framing.
What is the context of this? While the word of Allah was existed from the beginning to end. What is the context of this?
So you have
Explain it to me. Actually, before that, can you just explain me what the verse is saying?
Sorry, before I go into, I don't want to go into this first right now. You can't just take one verse and make like a generalization from it. There's a context in which it was, you know.
I am not
really
taking one
revealed.
verse and making generalization
And
of
there
it.
are other
I am asking you, who is going to be the Islamic teacher, I am asking you to explain this to me. You are going to be teacher. I am sure you all studied this, and you are justifying. Explain it to me.
I'm not going to be a theology teacher. I'm not going to.
You are going to teach Muslims about
I
Islam.
think you don't want to understand me. I'm trying to say something to you.
You are going to teach this to Muslim children. So,
I'm not gonna teach
how are you going to deal? How are you going to deal with this verse when your Muslim student says, I am going to use this, my father is using this verse to have sex with my neighbor's child. What are you going to do?
Do you really think that one student is going to tell me this? Do you really think that?
Yeah. Imagine that happened. What are you going to say?
I can't imagine it because it probably
It's not
won't
going to happen
happen.
anyway.
Yeah.
It's only happening in your side. How many children been abused by your church every day?
Oh, Islamic grooming gangs. See? People are screaming out for Islamic grooming gangs
Talking
again.
about children sex,
So how do you justify
Talk
this?
about your church. How many children been abused in the church every day on a daily basis in
I don't
this
want.
country?
I don't want to use her methods.
Yeah.
I don't want to use her methods like.
So,
Yeah,
Can-
you priest
sir-
on a daily basis raping
Sir,
children.
can you explain
touching
this to me?
children.
Like,
You've been
what is
abused
your
by
own
the
reading
sisters
of
well,
this?
maybe.
I have told you, you know, I will shed some lights on it.
Yeah.
And we will look at the hadith,
Yes,
look at the
okay.
Prophet's life, look at the verses, and then we will come to a conclusion.
Okay,
And
so
this
can
will
we do
be-
that now?
I'm not ready to do that now, mate.
Why?
Because I haven't prepared, because I haven't looked at the evidences, you know.
So
They have
I'm
no
I've got the
They have
tafsir
no
with me.
evidence.
I've got the
And he's
tafsir
an
with me.
Islamic teacher. He's not going to rape the child. It's only happening here in England.
Oh
It's
well,
a child.
Muhammad raped the child.
No, he did
Muhammad
not.
raped the woman.
He did not.
Maybe he's better than his prophet.
He
That's
did not.
absolutely fine.
He
I
did
can't
not.
say much about it. And in
I don't
Islam, raping is okay anyway. I've got the
No, she can do
tafsir.
what she wants.
So tafsirs identified this as you are divorcing them while they are in young age. They are just a child who is being developing. So I guess my question still stands. If you are going to teach Muslims about Islam, and right now you are studying to be Islamic teacher, how are you going to handle this verse?
I have told you that I have.
I'm not
prepared for
satisfied
it.
with
I don't
the-
have evidence for it.
Listen to his
You don't
answer.
need.
Give
How
him
does
the
it
chance
how
to
does it
explain.
make you feel as a man?
You don't need to be satisfied with me. I'm not here to satisfy you.
Why not?
Okay? Because I'm just
You
trying
can't even
to,
give me very
I'm
basic
trying to
answer.
convey you a message. I have told you.
What is the
I
message?
have already
What is-
given you the message. I have given you the message. What I'm telling you right now is, look at the principles which are, conveyed by the Quran before you choose and cherry pick those verses. Look at the principles first.
Show me another principle in the Quran. It states that you cannot marry with a child, or you cannot have sex with a child.
As I have told you, until the 19th century, you could do it in America, in the modern state, in the Enlightenment as well. It
Is that your
part of-
justification?
It's not the justification.
Your
It's
prophet.
not the
So do you
justification.
believe your prophet
our
followed the Western law and then did
our
that to
prophet didn't
Aisha?
live in postmodern
Do you
time
think
era,
Allah followed the Western law and then asked Muhammad to practice all those kind of things?
So you are assuming that
I'm asking you
our
the law of
prophet
Allah.
is like living in the postmodern era, and you're treating him with the teachings of the postmodern era.
So do you think the
there is
teachings of
culture
Muhammad
and
should
the
be in
culture-
7th century?
No, not all. The principles.
Okay, which ones?
We should
So
learn
which
from his
teachings of
principles.
Muhammad should be buried in 7th century?
We should learn from his principles.
He has no principle at all.
The manifestation
so which
of his
teachings of
principles,
Muhammad
that's
should be
another topic.
buried in 7th century?
Yeah.
Which teachings of Muhammad should be buried in 7th century? Child marriage? Put that in 7th century?
Yeah, that's
Yes or no?
That's a socio-cultural context.
Should you leave the
shouldn't
child
transfer it
marriage
today.
in 7th century? You leave it.
I don't leave it there. But that was a specific matter to that time. It was a specific matter to the time of the 20th century. But now the culture has changed.
Okay.
And it
got
can
it.
change
Yeah,
again
got
today.
it. Got it. Okay, got it. So, do you think in that case, this Quran it was only for 7th century?
No, it was not only for 7th century. There are teachings and
So should I get
remembrance
rid of this verse for you?
You don't need to get rid of it. You don't
No,
need to get
we
rid of
still keep it.
it. It is.
The verse which talks about divorcing
There
a
are
child
timeless
should
messages.
still stay in the Quran.
There are timeless messages.
Take in one case, there is hundreds of cases
The
today.
verse which talking about the divorcing a
Maybe-
child, should that stay in the
Maybe
Quran?
After 300 years, it will be needed again.
Okay, maybe in 300 we will need it, therefore we keep it in the Quran.
Why don't you go and stop the children being abused in this church anyway?
Why
I
don't-
told you many times.
why don't you go
why
and
don't
give your
why
private
don't
part
you
to
confront this
Muhammad?
issue? We have this issue one time with the Prophet and explain for you. Today in the 21st century, hundreds of children has been abused and raped
Don't
in the
cry.
church.
Don't
I'm not
cry,
crying.
baby.
I'm not
Don't
crying.
cry, baby.
I'm not crying.
Don't cry, baby.
You just don't like the fact.
Are you
That's the
serious?
problem.
Don't
Look,
cry,
the bodyguard
baby.
is moving now.
Don't-
Moving forward.
don't
Keep
cry,
moving.
baby.
Keep moving.
Don't cry, baby.
It's too old anyway.
So
Why don't you go and
Don't
solve the
cry,
problem?
baby.
I see now. Like that too. How many children been abused in this country?
Where is the-
Thousands, millions.
over 300,000 girls are victims of grooming
Been
gangs.
abused and touched in this
What
country.
grooming gangs?
Yeah?
Islamic
Especially you
grooming
country.
gangs. What is their reference? Surah 65, actions of Muhammad, as well as Surah 65. So, should I get rid of Surah 65 verse 4?
But Surah 65, in which century was referring to an age.
I have already responded to you.
Okay, we get rid of it. So now let's deal with the other one where you talked about the rights are given to the woman.
I leave you with her, but ask her the question. Where she go, there is about 10 or 15 children being abused.
Can
you
you
need
read
to
this
report
for me?
it to the police. Instead of helping the breast, you
Can you
know.
read this for me?
That's
Kolay
what you
gelsin.
should
Okay,
do.
sana kolay gelsin. Ben gidiyorum.
Bundan niye kaçıyorsun ki?
Düşünüyorum. Ben sana cevap vereyim.
Hayır, bir sürü yalan söyledin. Bir sürü yalan söyledin. Sana da şeyde okuduğun üniversitede yalan söylüyorlar. Sen de gelecek nesillere yalan söylemesini öğreniyorsun.
Ben gerçekten bazı şeyleri öğrenmek için, anlamak istiyorum. Evet, bir Müslüman ailede doğdum ama üniversitede bak işte Alman profesörler var. Bunu söyleyen kadın da Müslüman değil. Ve bize birçok eseri önümüze koyup gösteriyorlar. Tamam bak, böyle bakabilirsin.
Kadınlar Allah'tan iyi geliyorlarsa çok güzel.
Buradan bakabilirsin.
Kadınlar Allah'tan iyilerse çok güzel. Because Allah onu söylemiyor. Allah onu söylemiyor. Muhammed onu yapmadı. Sana yalan söylendi. Sana hala yalan söyleniyor ve seni they trained you to lie to the next generation. That is most dangerous thing, sir.
Anlamak için farklı filtreleri gösteriyor. Farklı filtrelerle Kur'an'ı nasıl anlayabiliriz? İslam tarihi nasıl anlayabiliriz? Fikirlerin nasıl gelişini nasıl anlayabiliriz? Ve işte içindeki hakikatin ve prensiplerin ortaya
you don't even have to pay for the university. I'll tell you how to make sense of Islam. Get rid of this book and get rid of all the teachings of Muhammad. Life will make sense, and Islam, when it does not exist, it will make sense. And you don't have to pay for the university at all. That was free lesson for you. Görüşürüz. Apparently, one of our brother is being removed from speaker's corner because lovely Muslims were in action. I'm just going to ask that to Mr. Policeman. Like I am concerned about him right now.
Okay. I'll find out, but I don't know what the circumstances
Okay, I'll wait.
were.
That's fine. I'll wait to hear from you.
Can I just finish reading this?
That's fine. I'll wait here. Yeah.
Okay, so right, my colleague.
No, it's fine.